Welcome to the Military Money Manual podcast, where every episode is all about achieving financial independence in the military faster than before. We believe personal finance shouldn't be boring or intimidating. Building wealth can be simple, and financial freedom is the ultimate financial goal. Now, here's your hosts, Spencer and Jamie.
Hello, welcome to the Military Money Manual podcast. I'm Jamie. I'm here with the founder and owner of MilitaryMoneyManual.com, Spencer Reese. Hello.
Hey, Jamie.
And we are together again in Orlando. We should have some music in the background, I think, for that. Together again in Orlando, and we are recording live in Spencer's hotel room. So it's nice to be together again 2 times in the last couple months.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we just finished up a super cool boys trip out west where we went whitewater rafting and did some other really fun stuff in the national parks. And now we get to hang out at a financial nerds conference called FinCon, or Financial Content Conference? Convention? I'm not sure, actually.
Well, either
FinCon.
way, financial nerds abound, and,
Yes.
and we fit in.
Yeah.
Today, we wanted to do an episode where we answer reader questions. So let's start out with one from Justin. Spencer, what did Justin want to know about today?
So Justin wrote in on Instagram, which is a great way for the youth to reach out to me. I guess people don't use email anymore. But if you want to, Spencer at militarymoneymanual.com or info@militarymoneymanual.com. Justin said, Spencer, love the series and book so far. That's my book, The Military Money Manual. He continues, I'm a captain in the Air Force and had a question. How do you organize your savings accounts? Do you just have your emergency funds in one and then another for saving for larger purchases, trips, car down payments, house down payments, etc.? Or do you leave these funds in your checking account? If you already have a podcast on this, then which one should I dig into? End quote. Well, Justin, we didn't have a podcast on this. So
we do now.
Here you go.
So, Justin, I think what I would start with to answer your question is I definitely recommend having a separate account for your, especially your emergency fund or any big goals. If you're saving up for a house down payment or a big vacation or anything like that, I would recommend getting those funds separate. There's a couple different techniques of how you separate them. Having a separate checking account and a savings account, or more than one savings account, is a great way to do it. There's also banks like Ally Bank is an online bank that has what they call buckets. So inside of the savings account, you can have different pots or buckets of money towards different goals. It could also be one savings account with a spreadsheet where you track each deposit that goes in there towards a certain goal. But maybe the easiest way if you're just starting out is to have 4 or 5 different savings accounts with a bank like USA or Navy Federal that's not going to charge you any fees. You definitely don't want to do it if there's a fee for minimum activity on the account, minimum balance, a monthly maintenance fee, or anything like that. So pick a no-fee, free savings account. You're not going to make any money off it, but that's okay, especially on your emergency fund. It's just there as more of a insurance. And the last thing I'll say is there's also apps that can do a similar method of keeping the money separate for you if you wanted to keep it all in one account. We've talked about You Need a Budget, YNAB app before. So in YNAB, their system is they don't care what account the money is in because you'll allocate all the money you currently have towards your goals. So probably starting out, recommend for, in my opinion, separate accounts, one checking account or 2 checking accounts and a couple savings account per goal. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, before I talk about what I think, how do you do yours personally?
So I use YNAB, the You Need a Budget app, and I just have my goals and all my accounts in there. It's linked to it through secure bank level encryption technology kind of thing played. And so I allocate each dollar that I have towards a goal, and it doesn't care what account it is in. So if I have a credit balance on my American Express Platinum card, for example, that $300 credit is viewed just as budgetable as $300 in my checking account.
Right.
So they don't care what account it's in. It just goes towards a goal. But you have to be careful about not spending it and not borrowing from that line item of your budget if it's not separated smartly.
So you just have like a checking account and a savings account then?
But one checking account, one savings account, and plus investment account. So Our emergency fund is not in USAA. It's separate from our savings account. But if I were to want to keep everything at one bank for simplicity's sake, I would probably do one checking account, one short-term savings, one long-term savings, and one emergency savings or something like that.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it.
And in the past, I have had 6, 7 savings account, one for car payment or buying the next car, house down payment, emergency savings. I had just had a separate account for each of those. So that was pretty easy to track low workload when you just have a separate account to send the money to.
Yeah. Yeah. So the way I do is I have a primary checking account for my daily or weekly purchases. So like when I was active duty, all of my, my paychecks on the 1st and 15th, they would all flow into that account. And then all my bills, all my credit cards, everything would be paid out of that account as well. But then for larger fixed expenses like a rent or a mortgage, I would take money out of the checking account and set it aside into another checking account, so that way I knew that I wouldn't get to the end of the month and not have enough money to cover my rent. And I would just break it up. So like when I was in Hawaii, my rent was ridiculous. It was $4,000 a month. It was actually $3,900. And so it broke down to $1,950 per paycheck. So on the first, I would just kick $1,950 into that separate long-term expenses checking account. And then on the 15th, again, another $1,950. And then on the next day of the month, or the end of the month when the rent was due, it would all just come out of that account.
And it was all automated.
It was all automated.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, I definitely, getting back to your question, Justin, I definitely think that your emergency fund especially should be in a separate account. A lot of people like Jamie like to hold it at a completely separate institution, so you don't even see it day to day. And I think that's a great way to do it. If you primarily use USAA, maybe have a Navy Federal account or an Ally account or any kind of online bank account. There's Marcus by Goldman Sachs, which typically has higher interest rates, and just keep your emergency fund parked there.
Yeah.
And then you're not tempted to spend it because you don't see the money, and it's a lot easier to
anything that's either FDIC insured or insured by the credit union equivalent. I forget what the name is, but so my emergency fund right now is actually at T-Mobile Money, their bank for T-Mobile customers, and it's earning 1.25 or something like that right now as of the time of the recording.
Better than my 0.01%.
Yeah, USAA interest rate's trash, but if you make a certain number of transactions each month, then you can earn 4%.
Wow.
APY annually on that. So, but I don't make transactions on my emergency fund. But anyway, that's an example of just a completely different bank, like you said.
Yeah. The other thing that I do is, Justin, it wasn't clear if from your question if you were married or not, but for myself, my wife and I also have separate checking accounts, and that's where we call our marriage premium. But basically, our money that we completely set aside from the budget that we both get, it's an equal amount, and we can spend it in any way we want. My wife's is called the Dragon Hoard because she just sits on it like a dragon with like gold, and it just keeps building up and building up and building up, and she has tons of money in there, whereas mine has like 17 cents in it.
Thanks, Amazon.
Yeah, I spend it all the time.
Yeah.
And then one thing to know is that USAA, Ally, Navy Federal, NFCU, it's very easy to open up new accounts quickly. And then you can also close them just as quickly. Sometimes you have to call in to close the account, and they'll just send them, if there's like a penny left in there, they'll send the money to another account that you have. But that's a way to keep your accounts organized. Like if you had to open an account for a specific purpose, like you were saving for a down payment for a car or for a vacation, and you had a very specific goal, but now you don't have a savings goal that requires an account, you just close it if you want to tidy up your accounts. Finally, if you have like lumpy expenses, you might want to think about something like or long-term savings. You might want to think about a term we've used before is sinking fund, where you have an auto insurance due every 6 months. And so you'll set aside $100 a month so that when the $600 auto insurance bill is due in June, you've already been saving for it since January. And other lumpy expenses, like you might not take a $5,000 vacation every month, but you might do one every year or two. And so you want to be setting aside money, and you might open up a separate account and then be automatically transferring money into there.
Whatever system you choose, though, it's important to make it easy and manageable for you and the workload between your kids, family, whatever you might have in your situation, Justin, and your personal life, because you don't want to make such a complex spreadsheet nightmare that only you know what to do. Your spouse is confused about where your money is or wouldn't know what to do, God forbid, if something should happen to you. So keep it manageable and not too time consuming. So whatever system that is for you, maybe experiment a little bit. And it's going to be different from probably anyone else you talk to, but hopefully that's some ideas for you.
Yeah. And personally, I bounce between maybe like 6 and a dozen accounts over the years. I think I'm down to like 6 now. And then I have some separate accounts for my business as well. So Justin, I hope that helps. And we answered your question there about how do you organize your savings accounts and where to keep your emergency fund. If listener, if you've got questions, you can reach out at info@militarymoneymanual.com, or we're on Instagram at Military Money Manual. Also, check us out, militarymoneymanual.com. Got a lot of good content there. And there's also a contact page there if you want to reach out. But we love getting listener questions, and we love helping our military community. We'll see you in the next episode of the Military Money Manual podcast.
Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of the Military Money Manual podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. This helps others find the show, and we really appreciate it. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Hey guys and gals, Spencer here again. Before I let you go, I want to let you know about two things. First, my 100% free course. It's called the Ultimate Military Credit Cards course, and you can sign up today at militarymoneymanual.com/UMC3. I've been running this course for over 4 years now, and we just celebrated our 7,000th graduate. In this course, I walk you through an absolute beginner's guide to travel hacking and opening your first fee-waived credit cards in the military. Again, you can sign up today at militarymoneymanual.com/UMC3. It's 100% free, no spam, and you can unsubscribe at any time. Second, my book, The Military Money Manual, A Practical Guide to Financial Freedom, is available on my website and Amazon today. Head over to shop.militarymoneymanual.com, or if you want the Amazon version, search Military Money Manual. This is the book I wish someone had handed me on my first day in the military. In this book, I cover the exact money tactics and investment strategies I used on my path to achieve financial independence while I served in the U.S. Air Force. The book is the best personal finance book specifically for you, whether you're an active duty, guard, reserve, a military spouse, enlisted, or officer. Any ROTC or Academy cadet can benefit from the tactical and strategic advice I lay out in the book. But don't just take my word for it. Here's 2 reviews of the book. Ryan on Goodreads.com wrote, "The most comprehensive investing personal finance book specifically written for military members I've read so far. This book should be handed to every new LT at commissioning." Matt on Amazon said, "This book is incredibly straightforward, easy to understand, practical, and useful. This book should be on the Commandant's reading list." Thanks, Matt. If you're interested in the book, head over to my website, shop.militarymoneymanual.com, and podcast listeners can use promo code PODCAST to get a special discount on the ebook, audiobook, and hardcover book. You can find the audiobook on Audible, the ebook on Amazon Kindle, and the hardcover book on Amazon, or again, head over to my website and use promo code PODCAST for a special discount. Thanks for listening.